Well, do you know what would be awesome? If everyone used running power meters. Because all of this information, in terms of like an Ironman, which is a good reference point because it's 180 Ks, it's always 180 Ks kind of thing. You can look at power levels and sustainable power levels and an increase in percentage of someone's power, like that's how much they increased because they always rode at 200 watts. Their threshold is 250 watts. They can ride at 80% for this long, otherwise they stop. And you can do that uphill, downhill, whatever. And if you try and ride at 200 watts, and for 5 hours, that equals this many stress points. You try and do it for 10 hours, that's too many stress points and doesn't work. There's lots of data on there because it's so objective. It's like, this is how much effort you're putting in.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But then in running, it's like, oh, who knows?
Just because power meters haven't been around long enough.
Yeah. And they're only just getting to the point where they're super accurate as well.
Yeah.
And even then, they're not a direct measure, but they at least still provide a way that we can look. And I just put up a video of looking between a trail run and a road run, because previously, like, where's all this data coming from? Is this a 30% increase in road running or a 20% increase in trail running? And are we just looking at distance? Because I can spend 15 hours running on the trails and run 100 and something Ks, and I can spend the same 15 hours and run like 200 Ks on the road. But then cycling, you have power.
Yeah, powers. You know, this is why everyone needs a power meter. Really. We're
gonna get too into one of your most favorite topics, so maybe we should.
No, but I think data is good, and we were talking about this earlier tonight because I got an ad, right?
For Texas Chicken.
Right? So, Will and I always talk about like this fried chicken place, Texas Chicken, because like, you know, once we get together, we're like. You want to get Texas Chicken? He's like, yup. I got an ad for Texas Chicken, and I'm not sure like if it was just listening to us. I still think that Google listens to us and Facebook listens to us. But you know, the other possibility is that it just knows that Will and I are together, and that when we're together, you know, we get Texas Chicken. Okay, so that's an example showing that how data is used, right? And so our phone tells us that we want Texas Chicken. We didn't even know we wanted Texas Chicken until we saw that, right? And power meters are kind of the same way. I see them as the same way. Like, our data is going somewhere whenever we upload it, like all our data, and we agreed to give that away when we signed up for whatever platform it is. And that data is going to be used to help us get better, right? It's going to give us our Texas Chicken when we don't even know we want Texas Chicken.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe they're getting closer with, you know, so many people having bike power meters. And they'll get closer once more people have running power meters. They're going to be able to tell you what you want and what you need.
Yeah, and they are, you know, Zwift and Trainer Road and Sufferfest, Strava is a bit of, like, they're able to better interpret your training.
Yeah.
And say, like, this is probably what you should do now, and this is what you should do next week. And because, you know, to a point, especially something like Zwift, where it's like a complete online sphere world, you are the human on the other end of the numbers.
Yeah.
Rather kind of thing. So.
Yeah, with most, so with a lot of things, like computers do a way better job than humans. With a lot, like, you know, calculator, like it's just faster, right? And better. It's not going to make a mistake. Like I might make a mistake doing a longhand calculation or in my head. Training is kind of one of those things where I'm not sure, like it's not there, and because like training. There's no exact science to training. There's still a lot of intuition and application of principles and outside factors when you're working with an athlete that a human coach that knows what they're doing is going to be better than an algorithm. And we get kind of close, and when we make training plans, we make them to kind of work for most people. But I think, when we're working directly with an athlete, we're always going to, at least until training science is perfect, we're going to be better at interpreting the data than a computer.
Yeah.
For at least the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's getting a bit AI on us, but that's what they're doing with our data. Like, these companies are trying to figure out how to, give us what we need.
Yeah, you can track a certain level, right? Like, if this is your 5K time, and the people who ran under 20 minutes did at least this amount of training.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to, and we'll finish on this. We'll finish on the data integrity, like the amount of times heart rate monitors shoot up, and your wrist-based heart rate monitor, or you don't wear it on a super easy ride. Now that data's not included, and now it looks like you only trained hard, or you only trained easy, or it's real, and then it's really hard. It just skews everything. And part of it, and you also have training zones, which I'm a huge fan of, heart rate based training zones. But I was just catching up with an athlete on Monday, and they were 1 beat above their zone 2, right? For it was like a 2-hour run for 30 minutes. They were 1 beat above.
Throw it away.
and because I looked at it, I was like, oh, what zone? I was like, Jesus, that's that's 25% of the time is in zone 3. The gray zone, like the no train zone kind of thing for this aerobic 2-hour run. I was like, wait, they're only 1 beat over. But now that data's there. Like, when I'm looking at zone analysis for the week or the month, it's like, well, now I've got like a really skewed percentage.
Yeah, well, zones are great, but they're also not an exact science because they're based on
but that's where you need
data.
I looked at that.
Yeah.
Person.